Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akash Agarwal, and I'm the Regional Director at EC Council. Before I start, I want to thank the organizers of this impressive, elegant, and a super famous Arab Security Conference, um, and its chief patron, Dr. Baha, and my dear friend Ahmed, and all the staff at Arab Security Consultants. Thank you very much for having me here and an opportunity to address all of you. So I just got a message that you can hear me, and in case Abdul you don't hear me, just message me and I'll correct myself. Today I'm going to talk about the future cybersecurity workforce. Uh, what what does it mean? What would the current time, the current situation, as we all know, would mean for the future cybersecurity workforce? So while I'm speaking from the management in the management section, you would want to understand this that whatever we are going to do today, whatever circumstances we are in, whatever decisions we are going to make today, will actually pave the way for you, the cybersecurity experts, and for people in general out there using the cyber or any kind of computing device to to determine what would be our role there. So my presentation is titled as "What do the current times mean for the future cybersecurity workforce?" Let us first understand the situation. We all know it. I mean, this is the first such pandemic in my lifetime of almost half a decade, of almost half a century that we are in a situation where all of us, irrespective of the country we represent and country we live, or or any kind of classification you want to do, we are all in the same. We are in a new normal. Now let me take a journey back 7 or 8 years. It was around 2013 or was it 2014 when I was listening to a speaker, a very prominent speaker out there in one of the global conferences, and the gentleman was talking about pandemic. He was talking about what if there is a kind of some kind of a chemical or a bio virus or bacteria or something goes out in the air, what would happen? Now, the word pandemic, I didn't know the meaning of it as I know it today. So I just let it go. And then, I being a movie buff, I saw a movie which was related to, again, pandemic, one of the movies that most of you would have seen, if not anywhere but on Netflix, for instance. Um, it talked about pandemic. It also talked about the adverse effect, and this was around 4 years ago. I saw that, maybe around 2017 or 2016, possibly. I again thought, well, this is a movie. It doesn't happen in the real life. And then it was early March or maybe late February. I was traveling overseas, and I got on a plane. I saw one, two, three people wearing masks, and we just started hearing about this kind of virus which is out there. And again, I was like, okay, fair enough. I'll also buy. So at the airport, I bought a few masks. I bought a bottle of sanitizers, which I usually keep, but just keep it in my handbag, in my cabin bag. I thought that let me purchase that. So I bought it. So in the plane of, there were like 50, 55 people sitting along with me. And well, maybe two or three were wearing masks. So overall, what I'm trying to tell you, the situation today is that till then, in fact, even later on, I was in a state of denial. Then here in this country and many other countries, like in Egypt as well, the government started declaring lockdowns. Lockdown means you were confined within your homes. Now you all know what lockdown is. And then I thought while in lockdown that maybe it would be over in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, well, 6 weeks. It is the seventh month right now, ladies and gentlemen. I am in lockdown, confined to my this one room, and working online from home. Although I've traveled from one city to other city, maybe 3 or 4 times during these 7 months, but it was just to shift from my workplace city to my hometown. That's about it. And Now the situation is real. Now I know that this is going to be the new normal even in the future. I have a wife, I have a son with their own vocations, own occupations out there, and all of them are kind of working from home for their own respective occupations and vocations. They have their own offices that they are attending to from home. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is there would be a time in future for sure, maybe a month, two, three, four, we don't know, maybe next year sometime, that we are all going to return to our old physical offices. Fortunately, if we are able to keep our jobs till then. So we are going to go back to our old offices. Would it be the same? The question here is, the most essential question here is, would it be the same situation as it was in 2019, or would it be a different office that we are going to see? So here what I'm trying to explain it to you is the new situation would be very, very different from what it was in 2019. So today when we see that the productions have been stopped, there are delays in the couriers that you're receiving, there are frustrations all around. Your material that was supplied from some distance has been lying at the warehouses, maybe at the port, shipping port or airport or places like these. But the economies, the government have seen they're slowly, gradually opening up because the work must go on for this country, for the companies to survive. So would 2021 will be like old days? Ask yourself. We all know it now. We've been talking about this pandemic for a very long time, but in this presentation today, I'm going to share certain things which will help you understand that how it will be difficult for a cybersecurity worker, a person who's responsible to manage the cybersecurity, how will the world be different? Now, in a lot of companies that I have been consulting and the companies that I have been working with, my partners all around the world, we all know that the policies today say that BYOD is still something that people were scared of. So there would be change in the technology, the robustness of the network, and so on. Let's take an example. Today, when I was working from Hyderabad office in India, we had around 350 people working from my office. All these 350 people were in one office, and the entire network was well secured by the IT guys out there. And now we have all shifted to our own homes. So imagine those 350 who are working in one office are now working from multiple offices, 350 different offices, working on the devices. Today, I'm connected to this network. The network administrator checked my network speed before I could log in here. And the same network is being used by my wife, by my son. I may have an enterprise grade network. Now imagine a situation where my son wants to borrow my laptop for something and then he types in something, or maybe my wife wants to see some kind of news that she wants to browse, and I have to allow her to kind of do it, as I guess most of you would do. So imagine the kind of issues that are going to be there in terms of confidentiality, privacy, and the data protection issues which were there. Earlier, what was happening? The entire environment around your system was sandboxed. Well, figure of speech, but most of us work in that environment. Most of us had extreme privacy measures being taken. The policies were there to take care of that. But how many of you out there, how many of your companies out there had the policy to allow 350 offices where the networks would be as open as they are today, where your computers would be as vulnerable as they are today? So the question is it not easy to work from home? Is the situation tomorrow in 2021 going to remain the same or not? Now, this pandemic has given has made these cyber crimes to exponentially grow. Look at the statistics on your screen right now, and you will see that the increase has been in three figures times. So if I count just February and March 2020, the latest statistics must be out by now. Look at it, 220x times increase in the spam. You know why? The reason is that you are sitting at home, people out there who are the state sponsored attackers, they know you are sitting at home, they know that you're not in a protected environment, as protected as it was out there. Well, some of you might argue we would be using some of our private network that our organization has given, which is enterprise grade, etc. But believe me, ladies and gentlemen, that network is not secure enough that as compared to what you were using out there. Look at the hits on the malicious URL which were related to. I am personally monitoring a lot of phishing attacks being happening around the world. I have contacted hundreds of such organizations who are currently dealing with innumerable phishing attacks that they're having, and not just phishing, smishing, wishing, and a combination of all those things. So the real danger is here. I'll again ask you this question. Are we going to go in 2021 and we will find the same thing as we had out there in 2019? Think about that. So when we talk about these COVID-related threats in quarter 2, now it's quarter 3. I mean, here the quarter 1 is depicted as January, February, March quarter. Quarter 2 is April, May, June. It has increased even further. And I'm talking from the point of view of the new policies, the new things that you are going to learn, that you are going to change. Imagine the job of those guys who had made these policies a few years ago and were left only to improve upon it. I'm talking about all the compliance measurements that you had in your healthcare industry, in your technology industry, in your telcos, in your manufacturing industry, in your automobile industry, whichever industry you are. Those compliance related issues, those policy matters which were related to the end user, to your customers, etc. There's a massive work out there. I mean, frankly, the 45 minutes that I'm here for with you are short to actually go ahead and tell you everything. But this is the time when I'm personally working with a lot of organizations to ensure that they have adequate number of people who know these changes. So for example, let's take this example which is there on your screen. It actually goes on to show that these were the requirements which were there before COVID. Now there are two things that we need to consider here. The first thing that we need to consider here is the number of people that are required. And second thing to consider is the kind of job roles that are required. Guys, listen, the job roles are also changing. So A, the number of people that are required, and B, the job roles are also changing, because now it will require you to understand the pandemic, to allow people to work from home, to allow them to work on a not so secure network, to allow them to work on their own devices, and so forth. So each industry right now is perspiring, is working towards making sure that they are up to the speed when it comes to safeguarding. And at the same time, unfortunately and ironically, those attackers out there with malicious intent, they are also preparing. Now, because you're an easy target, so they know ahead in the curve that you're going to prepare yourself like that. So third thing which is important is the speed at which you do. So quantity, quality of job roles, and the speed with which you do. These are the three things which are very important for you to understand that what is going to be 2021 and so on and so forth. Because if you look at the pre-COVID requirements, you will see that if there were 100 jobs, I mean in total, there would be a whole lot of other kind of people required out there. If pre-COVID there were 10 required, the requirement has doubled. So when we talk about quality, we are talking about Quantity, we are talking about doubling the number of people. Where are you going to find it? Today, if you look at your production had gone down. Remember my first slide? Production has gone down, social distancing, lockdown, demand has gone down, people are out of jobs, they're not purchasing. Please listen carefully, this part is very important. The production is down. A lot of countries have reported a negative growth in their GDP. Now, when such a thing is happening and the requirement of cybersecurity people has doubled, there were already 2 million people required in the region that we are here. Now, there are 4 million people required. Now, this 2 million gap of 2019, there were not enough people that could fill in these positions. Now, where are you going to get these 4 million from? That's a question number one. So the salaries of these guys would go high. In other words, the spend of these organizations would become very, very high and will be very prohibitive in getting it. All these is being noticed by those malicious guys. That's one. Second, I was talking about the change in the job role, because the policies are going to get modified in a substantial way now. And third, when can you do this? How fast do you need it? You need it pretty fast. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it just like, you know, by just with the same kind of people that you have right now. So these three things. Now that's the first thing. Now secondly, when we see that the technology is going up, the number of devices that people are using are high. In front of me there are 3 or 4 screens right now. So imagine the number of devices each person is using. So the level of cybersecurity awareness has to go up. Earlier, when you're working in the offices, your IT guy, your security guy, your CISO was preventing you, protecting you. Now, in a lot of terms, you're your own CISO. You have to be aware about security. So there are 7 billion computing devices out there in the world, assuming empirically that each person carries one. So everyone has to be aware about the security. Think about it. Now, 2 tasks that are in front of you, the kind of jobs, and everyone has to be security aware about it. So are we prepared for this? Because there are more attacks that are going to be coming in the coming years. Earlier, you had a problem with your laptop, something was not working, your internet was not working, or something went wrong. All you needed to do was to do one thing. Pick up your call or pick up your phone, or maybe log into your portal and just report an issue, log into issue, and within certain amount of turnaround time, your IT guy would come and resolve it for you. Now that poor IT guy has to, kind of call everyone, and moreover when there are more attacks out there. Are we prepared for the security awareness for all the users who are using their computing device and also their families? Remember I told you about this? That what if my family wants to, watch Netflix, etc. Now, if I were to free the bandwidth for this video call today, I might have to ask my other family members to stop viewing Netflix, to stop other stuff that they might be doing for this 1 hour, because I'm going to be using this bandwidth guzzling software on a video call with you guys so that there's an uninterrupted flow here. And on top of it, are we prepared to produce even more cyber experts? So out there, whoever is listening to this conversation, to this presentation, think about it. Are you prepared to join this in a new avatar? You cannot continue the way you were in January 2020 or December 2019. Now, one more thing which I want to cover before I end my presentation here. It is easier said than done. Why? Because to make one cybersecurity expert, we need, say for example, there are 4 million people required. Do you know how many people would be required to train these guys? there would be 5 times people who would be required to train these guys, which means I need to train 20 million people out there. There are not many IT experts, let alone cybersecurity experts. So the task in front of us is gigantic, not just to open up the factories, to open up the lockdowns, to go out there and so on and so forth. We've got a gigantic task in front of us. The task is to be able to train those 20 million people from around the world. Egypt is one of those countries that has adopted cybersecurity long ago. When I was there in Cairo last year, I met some of you, the officials as well, and I was amazed with the kind of progress that this country has made. And conferences such as this one, Arab Security Conference, has been able to spread the word out there. And it is all the more important now that they assume far more responsibilities as they have been doing for years now. And Egypt will have to now produce not people not just for their own cybersecurity, but possibly for exporting cybersecurity as well. The new domains will be created. So those people who are involved into creating the learning experiences, creating the content to learn, people like ISI Council, they would need to ensure that the right kind of education, the right kind of trainings are available out there. Because, to train these for 20 million people, we would need instructors, the master instructors. To create these master instructors, you've got to produce one from thousands. And you would need a million of them out there, instructors, to be able to train these 20 million. The facility by which you will be able to do, the hands-on practice by which you could give it, because the classrooms are not opening sooner. There are organizations I've heard that they are going to open their classrooms from July 2021, and who knows, the vaccine as on today is still not out. So we are not sure about that. And the demand for experts who are specifically into vulnerability assessment, digital forensics, application security, network defense, and so on would be required in a very, very big way. So to end this, and with gratitude towards the organizer, Dr. Baha, my friend Ahmed, and my colleague Joby Verghese, who's also representing EC Council in that region, I would like to reiterate one last thing. Times are not going to remain the same. In 2021, when you return to your offices, you'll see a different office. You'll see different policies. You'll see different job roles. Be prepared before it's too late. With this, thank you very much once again, and have a great day ahead.